All right. Every time I see this woman, I am honor bound to make sure that I put a video up putting her out there because she needs to be elected to national office. But anyway, the person I'm talking about is Nina Turner, and this is the segment, the interview that she gave on MSNBC this morning.
Also joining me now, former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, who is the surrogate for Bernie Sanders. It's good to see you, Senator. It's been a while. Let me get your impression of how all of this is impacting the Democratic side of the campaign. We've heard Hillary Clinton make some pretty strong statements about this. I think that Bernie Sanders yesterday was kind of studiously avoiding some of the questions about Donald Trump. We're waiting for this press conference to start. Would you expect him to make a strong statement about what we're seeing on the Republican side?
Yeah, I think he will, Chris, and I don't think he was avoiding it. I mean, he has spoken out against the environment that Mr. Trump has been creating for quite some time. And as we see, Mr. Trump continues to amp up folks in a way that is unbecoming of this country. But I know that we're quick to point the finger at him, but let us not forget that in the DNA of this country, Chris, is racism. And the fact that that is coming to the surface now, we as a country have to deal with that. And him as a leader, he should not be stoking those flames. So I think you are going to hear the senator say something about that this morning, but he has been talking about it all along.
Do you think that that is what underlies a lot of this back and forth, violence, scuffles? It ranges from just some pushing and shoving to we've seen some people who have ended up bloodied at these events. Do you think that there is an underlying threat of racism?
Oh, Chris, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And look at what happened in this country as soon as the first African-American president was elected, President Obama. All of those underlying tendencies that this country has, and I know we like to wax poetic about the founding fathers, and of course they wrote some very eloquent words, but let us not forget there were not African Americans at that table, there were no Native Americans at that table, there were no women at that table, there were no Latinos at that table. This country was founded on racism and sexism, point blank, and we need to admit that. It would be one thing if Mr. Trump was standing alone, but he is not standing alone, and so we need a leader, though, that is going to speak to our higher selves, and that leader is Senator Bernie Sanders. But we cannot delude ourselves, Chris. This is real. This feeling, this sentiment in this country is real.
There's no doubt that Hillary Clinton has done spectacularly well in most states with the African-American vote. And although we have seen in some places some gains by Bernie Sanders, they would have to be significantly better for people to say really that he will be able to be the person who is best suited to run against whoever the Republican nominee is. So I wonder, what is the message you think from Bernie Sanders that has not yet fully resonated in the African-American community that will need to if he is indeed going to beat Hillary Clinton?
Chris, he is the best leader. We know that the polls in the general, the head-to-head contest shows that he beats every single Republican handily. But I will say this, he is a senator from Vermont. He cannot control those demographics. But when the African-American community starts to hear his message, his story, he does not have the benefit of a national profile. He does not have the benefit of a spouse who was a former president and who was very popular. The African-American community tends to be very brand loyal, and that is predominantly what is going on here. If the African-American community really step back and take a look at the real record of the Clintons, there is no way in the world that they would be overwhelmingly supporting her in the way that they are. But Senator Sanders has a record because he was arrested, as you know, as a young man in Chicago fighting against segregation and discrimination. He was very progressive before progressive was cool, standing up for our gay, lesbian sisters and brothers. You know, he has that heart-soul agreement. I will tell you, when I saw him in Cleveland at the Olivet Institutional Baptist Church, that was an overwhelmingly African-American community. You could hear that call and response going, that he is starting to connect. So this is far from over. We still have over 30 states to go, Chris. And in many, many ways, he is still telling his story to the African-American communities and others in this country that he does have the heart-soul agreement. Arrested standing up for social justice and rights in this country at a time where folks were not looking at him in that way as a young person. That speaks to his integrity, and that also speaks to the fact that he is in this to give Americans a real choice and to change the dynamics in this country. Talking about the poor when very few Democrats want to talk about the poor. Talking about making sure that children, oh my God, that the children in this country know that they don't have to graduate with debt in one hand and a degree in the other. And Chris, to talk about universal health care as a moral imperative in this country. We know African American community disproportionately, most diseases, we have the highest rates of death and high blood pressure and cancer and all of those things. So he's fighting for it, Chris. We are absolutely out there. We're fighting for it.
Former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, thanks so much for being on the program. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
As I stated, obligated to do that. Senator Turner, you know, she has the bases covered. You know, I'm just hoping that after this goes down, that she can be elected to a higher office, either in the state of Ohio or on the federal level.